Hello, you're watching Leeds Student Television. I'm Lucy Fitzsimons, and today I'll be speaking to some of the candidates running for Activities Officer at Leeds University Union. So to start with, everyone, welcome. First of all, can you all just introduce yourselves by stating your name, your course, and why you're running?
Hi, I'm Jessica. I study management and Portuguese, and I'm running because I've been involved with the union since like 2015 and have always been disappointed by some things, and I really want to make positive change.
Amazing. Jared?
Hi, I'm Jared. I study actuarial maths, and I'm running because I've been part of society since starting university and think it's a really good way to get involved, and I wanted to get as many people involved in societies as possible.
Brilliant stuff. And last but not least, Felicity?
Hiya, I'm Felicity. I'm in my third year as a history student, and I'm running kind of similar reasons as the other guys. I've been involved in society since my time at uni, and it's really shaped my time at uni, and I want to be able to help other people with that and just see how amazing they are and improve them even more than how they're already running.
Lovely stuff. Brilliant. And if you were elected, what would be your top 3 priorities?
3 of my main points. So the first one, I'm looking at COVID support, how we can help societies get back up and running from last year, whether that's financial aid or it's just kind of improving the training system to be better adapted to being online. Another thing I think is really important is engagement. Last year, we kind of saw a lot of just cancelling events, like, no, let's just not do them. I think we should work to see how we can keep them going, even if COVID is still like a big thing with us next year. So for example, live streaming sports events if crowds aren't allowed, or doing performances online by editing together videos and things like that. And then the last thing I think is important that I bring in is just improving the opportunities that you can get from your position within a society, whether that's on committee. We learn so much from being on committee and in our roles that are really kind of valuable skills that you can take into the real world and for jobs. And I think it'd be really great to bring in an initiative where you can get qualifications that you can kind of show, this is what I've done, this is how I can do it, and adapt that to each society so that they can use that for future employment.
Cool, brilliant. And Jared?
My first point is making societies just more accessible for everyone. So we're sort of in participation with the other officers to in particular, like international and postgraduate officer, as certain societies don't have as many international students, so sort of having sort of an international rep, so getting that to encourage international students to join societies as well. COVID's been a big hit to societies this year, so have sort of make the hardship fund available for next year's societies, so societies can still function next year. That's really important. It's as I said, it's been a big part of my uni experience to make sure everyone can have those opportunities. And my last point is having a welfare officer in every society. It was recently introduced in all Griffin clubs, but I think it needs to be rolled out to every society we have at Leeds, so everyone can feel supported within their society as well as by the university.
Thank you, Jared. And Jessica?
My whole campaign is Think Fast, Vote Fielder, and the FAST stands for the 4 pillars of my campaign, which are funding, advertising, space and time. With funding, it's so important, especially after COVID. A lot of clubs are struggling, so I want to make the funding process so much easier and clearer, because a lot of clubs don't even know how to get what funding they're eligible for. With advertising, because I feel like we could hope that there's going to be a Freshers' Fair in September, but I don't think it's going to be the same as what we're used to. So I want to focus advertising on newsletters and maybe even going into halls and running smaller, like more COVID-safe events in halls, going to the freshers to try and garner some interest. Space has always been such a huge issue. So I want to look at finding local space outside of uni where we can try and train and just expand our possibilities on that front. And also the storage space issue is such a huge issue as well. So I want to look at the space we have and try and reorganize it and see what extra space we can get. And finally, with time, I want to make sure that I'm available to anyone that needs it, anyone that is on a committee, anyone that's struggling. I want evening office hours where you can come to me, have a vent, have a chat, or just like ask for some advice.
That all sounds amazing, guys. So we're going to move on now to the questions. How will you be supporting societies so they all have the same ability or equal platform to promote themselves during Freshers' Week 2021?
So I think having such a wide range of societies at Leeds is why we're so good as a university union, because we've got any kind of niche interest you may have, we've got society for that. So mine would be making a very clear timetable available to all students to see every single society advertised, and work with yourselves at LSTV to highlight societies throughout first semester and the whole year as activities officer, highlighting societies and like what they do, what good things all the societies have been doing. And so this will be highlighting from all range of societies. I obviously come from a sports background, but going to performances and live stream performances, again, if COVID restrictions are still in place, sort of encouraging all societies just to share themselves, and like me and myself help promote every single society.
Brilliant, thank you, Jared. Felicity, should we go to you next?
So I think kind of similar to some respects what Jared was saying, obviously we don't really know what the situation's going to be in like September, October. It changes every week. We can't really predict what it's going to be like in 7 months. But I think what we have to do is just kind of prepare for the worst and then remove back restrictions as and when we can. So I think when it comes to if we are allowed to have a freshers fair, I think if it's maybe only certain numbers of societies that can be on campus, I think maybe focusing on more of like the niche, the smaller societies that people don't really know about as much, giving them more maybe the in-person kind of promotion, because it's like that's kind of what the fun of Freshers Fair is. You go around, you find all these really random societies, and it's like, oh, well, I wouldn't have ever even heard of that. I think another really important thing as well, it's how we can help societies with improving their online presence. I think a lot of that comes from additional training, because obviously at the minute, if people want to host events online or if they want to create promotional videos, it requires someone who has a strong level of knowledge to do that, to be able to make kind of a professional thing that people are going to be proud to promote. And obviously LSTV, you guys are amazing, but you guys can't do it for the whole of the uni. And I think it's kind of adding to that training to kind of give people even a base knowledge so that they can take that and support that and move it on. And then I think kind of expanding so that each society gets its own like equal amount of recognition. I think a good idea would be to bring in kind of a collaboration scheme within society. So taking like the big societies with the smaller ones, so that they kind of, the smaller societies get more exposure through like the wider amount of members. And it also then creates kind of that more family connected feel between the societies. Like we all love our activity for what we do, and it's kind of being able to then share that with other people and then get more people involved with things like that as well. And then finally, I think just making sure that each society has the right level of funding. This year people have lost a lot of from their accounts, especially from like lack of membership money. So I think making sure that each society has the opportunity, if they want to be able to take additional funding to promote their society in whatever way that they see fit.
Amazing, thank you, Felicity. And lastly, Jessica.
Yeah, I completely agree with what Felicity and Jared just said. I think like we do need to prepare for it not to be a traditional freshers like we're used to, and make allowances for that, which is why I think potentially smaller events in halls, or getting the hall exec involved in helping to spread the word about societies. I would like to potentially implement like a category newsletter for each category. So for example, like maybe like a once a fortnight newsletter saying this is when martial arts train and this is what they do, this is when dance train, this is when the general interest societies meet. Just to, if you're interested in those categories, you can sign up to that like specific newsletter to help get word out. Because I think, yeah, like Felicity said, the joy of Freshers Fair is going and meeting all these people and seeing all the different societies. And I think we really need to work on ways to showcase that. And that's what we can use the summer for, to work with societies to really decide how they want to present themselves.
Amazing, thank you, Jessica. Societies often complain that it's difficult to communicate with the activities department, especially during the past year with the pandemic. How will you improve this to ensure that societies feel supported?
So this is actually one of the things that I do have on my manifesto, is improving the communication with societies, not societies, with activities, between societies and activities, there we go. And I think one of the main issues at the minute is it's just so general. You kind of email activities and you get put to general inquiries, and then depending how busy they are, it can take 2 days, it can take 2 weeks, it can take a month to get a reply for them to then tell you, oh, you need to talk to this person. So I think straight away there should be a system, whether it's on the website or it's just a specific level of contacts committees are given at the beginning of the year, to be like, for this issue, you need to contact this person, and to just deal with it way more directly, and then just be able to solve any issues kind of a lot more, just to a better standard. as well as this, I think if each society, I know it's this initiative that started to be brought in this year, but if each kind of group of society has their own LUU member that they can go to for like specific related to their society issues. So whether that is a sport person, a dance person, a wellbeing person, just so it's not so generalized. And then finally, I know I keep going on about training, but I just feel like training is so important. If we change the training to stop being so generalized, at the minute you kind of click through on a website, you answer a few questions, half of people won't really do it. And I think instead, if we created more interactive workshops specific to each society, so kind of links to like issues that they might come across throughout the year, as well as then the more general things that links to everyone, so then they are more supported from the get-go, and they've kind of got that basis of knowledge that they can then take through. Because at the minute, I kind of think you're thrown into the deep end a little bit, and it depends a lot on what your predecessor in the society has told you about the role, to kind of how well supported you feel and how much understanding you have. And then finally, just kind of weekly drop-ins, things where people can come in, have questions answered, and just feel like there's always someone to answer a question, and that it's not like a big hassle for just, even if it's like the tiniest thing.
Amazing. Jessica, could we go to you next?
I definitely think that, yeah, communication has been a problem in the past year, but it's been a problem as long as I've been at the university. I remember when I was captain of a society, I would literally just turn up at activities office or turn up at the Edge if I had a problem. And obviously this year you can't do that, because I found the email support or just general support was just not there. It's part of why I want to have like an evening office hour where students can come and raise problems directly with me. So just cutting out all middlemen and just coming straight to me and saying, this is the problem, like, what can I do? I'm stuck, I'm not getting good responses. And then, yeah, just making sure that responses are less generalized, responses are maybe more training within the activities office to what each category needs, because a lot of the time we do just get responses that just don't help at all, and it's so frustrating, and I think it just really needs to change.
Amazing, thank you, Jessica. And Jared?
So I agree with both of the girls that sometimes communication isn't the best from the union, and I think one of my manifesto points is hosting weekly drop-ins, not just with myself but with the rest of the activities team, because I appreciate my experience at uni and going through different societies won't be the same as everyone else's. So working with sort of the activities team, they'll have a lot more experience in other societies, like for example dance I've not been part of during my time at uni, so working with them to make sure that inquiries are fully answered with the right expertise. And also another one of my manifesto points is listening to the student voice, and so this is dealing with all the 13 reps that we have in our union, and they will take all the problems from different societies, that close contact of a lot of societies as well, and then using these reps to sort of dynamically work with what I wish to achieve, and getting problems from them and trying to solve them internally as well. So like use the chain of ladder to solve problems more easily.
So next question. This role was previously dedicated solely to activities. Now it's being combined with opportunities. What opportunities are you looking to provide students at Leeds?
Being part of clubs and societies is shaped my entire time at uni, and I think for those that take part, making sure they get the recognition they need from the roles they take on, I feel like being part of societies and being part of committee is also like, it's like running a little business almost, and I definitely think that it's so much work that they need to get the proper recognition and like qualifications to show what they've done. But aside from like clubs and societies, I think generally like within the role of activities officer, we should be doing more to just encourage people to sort of get out and do things. I think this past year we've spent so much time inside. As part of my campaign, I'm hoping to run some fun activities over the campaigning weeks to try and get people more engaged with the race and just give people something to do, because I feel like until like this race happened, I've been spending so long in my room watching Netflix, just bashing out uni work, and now I feel like I have a purpose again. I'm so excited, and I want to like share that excitement with the rest of the student body and get them involved in loads of cool activities, and then carry that on into my role if I get elected.
Amazing, thank you, Jessica. And Felicity?
So I think when I came to uni, I do a very generalised degree. I do history. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I think it's only through kind of my time on committee and in societies that I found kind of where I think I want to go career-wise after uni. But obviously, I don't have any qualifications or anything to go with that. I've just kind of got my experiences. And I think, as Jessica was saying, you learn so much from being in a society and on a committee role. There is so much work that goes into it, and a lot of the time people just don't really have an idea. And I think kind of giving some sort of qualification or a certificate to be like, this is what you've done, these are the skills that you've kind of developed through this, and whether that means doing like more workshops and things throughout the year to kind of solidify those skills in a more formalized kind of written way. I just think it's something that people can put on their CVs, that they can talk to employees about in the future, and then be able to give direct examples straight away of kind of where they've come up against challenges, or like how they've used these skills that they've learned to run a society which can have up to over 100 people. And the fact that students are doing that, I just think is so incredible, and it just deserves more recognition. And then I think, like Jessica was saying as well, we're just giving people kind of the more encouragement to want to get in part, to want to be part of these opportunities. So another thing I would hope to bring in would be like a reward scheme kind of system. So to say thank you and like give back to people for the amount of hard work that they do, because I think a lot of the time it can feel like it goes unrecognized, but it doesn't. And like the union is so kind of appreciative of the work that students do. And I think just kind of saying like a physical kind of way to say thank you is really important with that.
And lastly, Jared?
Being on committee, you get such valuable experience that it's really easy to develop in a job, but without qualifications, it's quite difficult to show that. So I think doing workshops with the Career Centre can really help with translating your experience on committee into like your CV, and like how that'll work in sort of a job sense rather than in a committee sense. And making sort of the opportunities that I want to sort of develop will be, again, what I've mentioned before about having more international students in societies, but I'd also want to work with the disability reps to make sure that all societies have can properly function and help disabled students who might need a little bit more support to make sure they fully can enjoy the societies as much as everyone else can. Another sort of opportunity thing I've got going on would be to modernise the LeadLUU website, to have it a bit more straightforward and a big sort of calendar for all the events taking place. So it's very easy to search any society and see, oh, these are the events that they've got going on, rather than having to like message the society directly. You can just go to the LeadLUU page and I'll see everything the society's doing on a weekly basis.
So now we're going to move on to a slightly more light-hearted question. When the current COVID restrictions are over, what is the first thing you want to do in Leeds?
Oh, that's a tricky question. I'd want to go. I'd have like a full day. I'd probably go rowing in the morning. I quite enjoy a bit of a rowing. See some friends in the afternoon. Maybe visit RPP, a few of the good sites, and then just go out for food. I miss going to restaurants all the time because we've got such a wealth of restaurants in Leeds that I just can't go to at the moment. And it'd be nice to like sit down, have a meal, and not be at home having takeaways.
Yeah, definitely. Brilliant, that sounds lovely. And Felicity?
Well, I mean, if we're going like no COVID restrictions, the first thing I want to do is go back to Fruity. Out. But yeah, I think I just really miss being able to, you know, socialize with my friends. Like part of the dance societies, like it's just what I've missed this year. Like having to dance in my little box room has just been so like irritating. So just to be able to actually go out and just do like normal things, also go shopping, that's what I've really missed this time as well. Like internet shopping just doesn't do it for me. So yeah, just live normal life again.
Yeah, I feel you on the internet shopping. There's way too many parcels coming to my house.
There's the postman like every day just like banging on the door, and you just kind of, he looks like disappointed now because there's just
when he knows your name, you're like, ooh, have I got
yeah. Oh, God.
And Jessica?
I think like, yeah, for me being back in Leeds, and so like last year I was on my year abroad. So for some of my friends from societies, it's been like over a year since I've seen them, like regardless of COVID. And when we had some in-person training sessions, it was so hard not to just run up to them and give them a big hug. And I think I just want to spend the day with like my society friends and just, you know, like we normally would go to like the Lake District for like a weekend and just like take drinks, have a barbecue and go for walks. And I think like I would be like straight on that bus to go have that like weekend with them.
So that's all of my questions. Is there anything else that you guys would like to say?
Yeah, I think the only thing that I would just wanted to add in that I just kind of missed off was as part of kind of like freshers and things for next year. I just think a really important thing will be making sure that freshers isn't just directed at first years, but also second years, because I think second years, they're the ones who've been most hard hit by COVID at uni, because obviously they haven't really had the opportunity to join any clubs and SOCs, not in a proper way. And I know, for example, I met all my best friends at uni through like my society experiences, and like that's where I feel like developed myself at uni. So I think kind of not just feeling that they've been written off, but even having their own kind of second year freshers events. So whether it's like their own freshers day, or have societies run kind of events just for second years, just so they don't feel like they've been written off after this year, and that there's still like a place for them within societies, because the societies do want them to join.
For me, societies has completely shaped my time at Leeds, and I was at Leeds for 2 years before I properly got involved with societies, and I don't think I properly felt like I belonged. I think the people I was hanging out with weren't like my real friends as such, until I joined my society, and it just feels like my family now, and I literally couldn't live without them. And it pains me to know that some students don't even get that experience if they don't join clubs and societies. So I really want to push that clubs and societies is just such a great opportunity to get involved with, regardless of your year group.
Being a part of societies literally shaped my time at uni. I can't actually imagine a life without the societies I've joined. And again, we usually have quite a lot of second years join rowing as a sport. So I think taking what I've learned from being club captain of rowing and what we did this year, so and expanding that for all societies. So making sure events are even freshers fair can be more towards new members of societies, rather than just for freshers. I feel like it seems a bit more exclusive if it's a freshers fair. So encouraging all members to go from whatever you're part of, because a lot of students join that are just postgrad, just for doing a master's, and that's also just 1 year. So making sure we target freshers events for those students as well.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for speaking to me today. It's been really great to hear all about your manifestos and your campaigns. And I wish you all the best of luck with everything. For everyone watching at home, don't forget that voting opens on the 1st to the 4th of March, and we will be live streaming the results right here on Leeds Student Television on 5th of March. Thanks so much for watching, and goodbye.
Hi everyone, you're watching Leeds Student Television. I'm Sophie Arundel, and today I'm going to be talking to the candidates who are going for the role of Leeds University Union Activities and Opportunities Officer. So first things first, if you guys could just, tell us a little bit about yourself and what your whole thing is all about, really.
I'm a robotics student in my 3rd year. I want to help make the union more sustainable by recycling unused university equipment. Also, make our society safer by implementing a standardized safe space policy. Societies could opt out if they wished, but any societies who did use a safe space policy would all be using the same one, which would make communication clearer. I would also provide societies better training and the recognition that they need to ensure that it is worthwhile to be on a committee. All my policies are fully explained at getgeorge.co.uk.
Thank you very much. That's brilliant. Kat, if you'd like to go second.
Hello, I'm Kat Padmore. I'm a 2nd year film student, and as activities officer, I will get more out of LeadLUU for you. My policies cover communication, accessibility, training, events, sustainability, and of course, COVID. For training, I want to include committee training on what it actually takes to run a society, with tips on leadership, funding, event planning, and meetings. I also want to create a language partnership program to connect ESL students with committee members that speak a common language. And committee training will include accessibility on people with disabilities like me. For communication, I'm going to impose time limits on union responses, so you're not waiting around for weeks for advice. I'm going to reduce unwanted emails by creating a single union newsletter and limiting the amount of emails each department is allowed to send you. And I'm also going to hold monthly town halls with senior staff to help us hold our union accountable. You'll also get no more lost time from COVID. I'm going to waive fees on COVID-safe events so working class students can attend. I'm going to provide COVID safety training for our committees and give consistent and timely marketing across all LEU channels for freshers and beyond. Plus, I'll bring back virtual fruity with socks choosing the tunes. We'll be sustainable while we hold all these policies, with a community guarded in the union, emphasis on digital-only marketing and recycling all unused equipment. As a media rep and a committee member, I know what good representation looks like, and I can lay the foundations for long-term change. If you'd like to hear more, you can go to voteforcat.com and make sure you get more with Padmore.
Thank you very much. Leah, just you.
Hi, I'm Leah, and I am a final year theatre and performance student, and I'm the president of Open Theatre Society. With me, I want to improve marketing from LUU and for the societies, and I'll do this by making sure all the information about societies and their events is in one easy, accessible place. I'll make it easier for societies to book spaces for their socials, events and rehearsals. I'll introduce buddying systems that new and smaller societies can learn from bigger ones. And I'll be ensuring that there is equal publicity for all societies, especially for female sports teams. I'll be sorting out money issues by making more grants available that are easier to apply for and fairly given out. Fundraising events for societies which can help with the cost of equipment, the memberships and the socials, and I'll ensure there is a membership grant available for students from lower socioeconomic backgrounds so that nobody should miss out due to membership fees. I also want to improve member experience by giving committee training on keeping safe at socials. Sexual assault cases are high in Leeds, and we need to stop this happening. Making societies more inclusive for students. Societies should reflect the student population and work to engage students in different ethnic communities, economic backgrounds, and students whose first language is not English. I also want to make sure there is an Uber policy, so if a society member is too drunk on a social or unable to get home, the committee will pay for that and claim it back on LUU. And finally, societies must continue online, offer media training so that we can combat Zoom fatigue and make exciting events. So you can find me at Handy for Activities on Facebook, TikTok and Instagram. Make a stand, vote Leah hand.
Thank you very much. That's brilliant. Okay, now I'm going to ask you guys your specific questions for this role. So firstly, keeping that order, if that's okay. How will you be supporting societies so they all have the same ability or equal platform to promote themselves during Freshers Week 2021? Take it away, George.
Thank you for the question. It's a little known fact that the digital display boards used in the union that are normally hired out by corporate companies can actually be used by societies for free. To ensure that this is more widely used by societies, as I currently believe it is underused, I reserve one slot on them at minimum to hold society adverts. If no society has applied for an advert to be put into that slot, it would hold a placeholder advertising that this is available for societies. I would also add a Google form that would allow societies to easily apply to get on the display boards, which would make displaying any poster all the way around the union as simple as uploading a file to Google Forms and submitting a quick description about what the post is about. Furthermore, I would work with the university to standardize how materials is added to the screens used in student areas. For instance, many student support offices have large television screens that normally put out announcements surrounding that particular school. Of course, normally societies directly email their student support office to upload their posters. However, this isn't going to work for wellbeing societies. I'd radically redesign this system by creating a computer program wherein each screen could subscribe to different feeds. For instance, the electrical engineering screens could subscribe to the welfare societies, sports societies, and the electrical engineering society, as well as notifications about the university in general. This would make it much easier for us to get the message out to students, and in combination with displaying on the union digital display boards will mean that we can reduce our environmental impact by reducing paper-based marketing.
Freshers Week was a mess this year. Events weren't advertised until 2 days into the week, communication was terrible, and because of constantly changing rules around COVID, access to union resources was awful. This year, we need to do better. On top of COVID safety training and accessibility training for committees, so you know your freshers events are open for everyone, I'll make sure the union has a dedicated team responsible for relaying key info to you and the public. Every SOC will get a freshers grant and access to a safe space to hold an event during that week. The grant will be means tested, not decided based on member numbers, meaning you get the amount you need instead of the amount the union decides. As we consider COVID, I'll also help societies create online events in case we can't gather, supporting communities to help sell what they do effectively while still being engaging and accessible. I'll also make sure societies have input on the social media approach the union takes to advertising freshers, so you know your SOC is being supported. I'll take advantage of the platforms LUU already has to promote your events and activities. This includes training sessions on graphic design and promotional support from the social media team, so you know how to increase engagement in your work.
I agree, Kat, it was very badly organised this year, so that is something that I would want to change. So, but do this by making fair and equal publicity given to all the societies to ensure that the events and activities are equally marketed. So I'll do this through equal advertising in the union, and I'll also do this by making sure that all the societies' events are in an easy accessibility, so societies can upload their events online or in person, so that their in-person events or online events on one space that students can filter them by the date, the time, the place, and they'll know exactly what is happening and when, and it will ensure that stuff is not missed. I'll also be ensuring that there are more grants available, including grants that can be used for Freshers Week. So all societies will be able to apply for these grants and they can use them for their events, their merchandise, or anything else that they might think is relevant for them for Freshers Week. I'll also ensure that there is extra support for new and upcoming societies who are new to making Freshers events or not as familiar as long-term societies. I'll do that through marketing training on how to reach Freshers and through event training on how to make engaging events. I'll also hold an event which all societies can join. One will be in person, similar to the Freshers Fair. Well, they'll both be in person if can be. Similar to the Freshers Fair, which gives opportunities for students to speak to societies, but would also host an event where societies can pitch themselves, and students can ask questions and find out more about the society, and the society can really get themselves known, especially those smaller societies. And that can be streamed as well for those students who are at home for various reasons, whether it is COVID or whether we have to be online anyway. So all of these things should ensure that societies are equally supported, and I'll also hold a drop-in session during the lead up and during Freshers Week, so if societies need any extra support that they can get in touch with me.
Thank you, that's great, guys. Okay, your second question is, so societies often complain that it's difficult to communicate with the activities department, especially during the past year, well, obviously. So how will you improve this to ensure societies feel supported? George, if you'd like to go first.
I would have created a chatbot on the union website. So this would allow students to quickly ask questions to the union website, and then it would reply with pre-generated answers. This would allow students to organically ask questions that they would normally have to spend several minutes or even hours trawling around what can be a very complicated union website. It would also allow you to directly book rooms and directly fill out forms. So you could say, I need to book a room. It would say, what do you need it for? This is the room that you can book, and this is the form. I would also port the union app to a WeChat mini program. If you're unaware, WeChat is a social media and messaging app very popular in China and Asia. It has the relatively unique feature of being able to add applications within an application. For instance, Nike have a shop that is purely operated within this app. I would port the Union app into a WeChat mini program. This would allow students from China and Asia to more easily access Union services and more easily book rooms. Finally, I would standardize the handover procedure. I, for one, know how annoying and how frustrating it can be when there is a messy handover. You don't know any of the logins to your emails, and sometimes you end up only finding out that you have a welfare email several months into running a society, as I know from running the LGBT society. By having a standardized handover procedure, you would make sure that at most, a society's knowledge was only 1 year out of date. This would mean that they know exactly who to contact and don't have to spend days waiting for replies, forwarding people, bouncing around through the activities office.
You're absolutely right. Communication is dire, and I've experienced that frustration firsthand, both as a committee member and as a rep and as just a member of the public. I have 4 developed policies that help you connect with the union directly. The first is time limits on union responses to you, so you're not hanging around for weeks when you need help or advice. I'll also create an open staff directory on the LeadLUU website with details on each team roles within the union and a navigation system that allows you to find the appropriate contact for your specific issue. Each staff member will have a clear profile photo, pronouns and contact details, as well as a basic job description, so you know if they can correctly handle your issue. To reduce unnecessary emails, I'll also create one single union newsletter across departments. I'll also put forward a policy limiting the amount of emails each department is allowed to send you. to deter further spam. Finally, and most importantly, I'll hold monthly town halls between the activities team, the student body, and the charity board to give you space to ask questions about how your union is run and hold the powers that be accountable.
Yeah, so I agree again that societies often do complain that it's difficult to communicate. I've again, similar to you, to experience that. So firstly, I pride myself on being quite an approachable person. So I'll ensure that I'll be there to support societies, but obviously you need to see evidence of that. So there are various ways I do this. I would hold a drop-in session for societies to come and speak to me on a one-to-one basis, and that would happen each week and can be online if needed. I'll also ensure different staff members' details are there and easy to find. If it's a problem I can't personally deal with, I'll ensure that I definitely redirect that person to who will deal with their problem, ensure that that is followed up. I'll also organise an easy to use booking system where societies can book meetings with me outside of those drop-in sessions. I'll allocate my own time to having meeting societies to answer their problems or give advice and allow societies to feel supported. I'll also host a society meetup, which can be online if needed or in person, where societies can come together with their committee to have a discussion about what they want to improve in LUU and hold me accountable if they need. And also give societies an opportunity to learn from each other and get different ideas, and also think, oh, I didn't realise that was available, and stuff like that. So it would be a great way to communicate together.
Thank you, guys. So your last question is, so this role was previously dedicated solely to activities, but now combined with opportunities. What opportunities are you looking to provide students with at Leeds?
I would provide students the opportunity to discuss experience of abuse, bullying, and hate with the union without requiring them to take it to a disciplinary level. Although this may seem counterproductive, as you wouldn't necessarily go about taking disciplinary action against members of staff or other students, it is very important that this is able to happen, because many people may not want to go through the court-style process that incurs. However, it would still allow those people to suggest changes to union policy that could prevent that awful event happening to somebody else. This is very similar to the Independent Inquiry into Child Sexual Abuse's Truth Project, which has been shown to work and has been shown to provide good information on how to improve systems. I would also work with the refectory to get societies to be able to set the menu for a day to highlight different cultures and cuisines. For instance, during Black History Month, the African and Afro-Caribbean Society should be able to set the refectory's menu to highlight their different cultures. Similarly, you could even have this for smaller societies, such as the Kazakhstan's International Day of Kazakhstan. You could have that as a whole Kazakhstan menu, and then this could really highlight different cultures. I would also open a repair shop to encourage students to repair their broken electronic devices and learn how to use the tools to do so, as this is a very useful life skill, but it is often very difficult to learn how to do without access to the tools and equipment that can be very expensive. This would also extend to union equipment and university equipment that may need to be fixed. And finally, if possible, depending on legal and health and safety requirements, we could extend it out to local schools, charity organisations, and the local community.
Thank you very much. Kat, are you good to go?
I really want to take advantage of this change to create more spaces for students outside of the typical society structure. It's also really important for me to get committees skills-based training at their induction, so they have easily transferable skills into employment. I also want to give them access to first aid and mental welfare training so they can support member well-being alongside developing personal skills. Outside of societies, I want to hold more events about current issues that directly affect students, such as this current rent strike. This includes creating a pot of money dedicated to holding and promoting decolonising the curriculum events, as well as involving societies in more history months. While most of my policies surround fixing issues that we currently have in the union, like communication and equal access, I also want to create an accessible community garden. This space will give students the opportunity to create and sell food while also encouraging sustainability and just giving people a chance to relax. I also know we all miss Fruity a lot, so I want to work with LSR to work with the union to make virtual Fruity a fortnightly endeavour, with each week being hosted by a different society. It's a great way to market small societies while putting on events that the whole union can enjoy safely.
Thank you very much, Kat. Last but not least, Leah?
There are lots of opportunities that I would love to make available for the students of Leeds, and I think this is a really great thing to take on board in this role. So firstly, as I already talked about, that'll be that media training, which I previously obviously discussed. This will be an invaluable session for students to sign up to learn new skills in a media-led world. I often find that these media training is just about using Minerva and isn't really relevant. So I think that's something that can be really helpful for students. I also want to give opportunities for new skills, to learn new skills that are not readily available. Skills I would like to give the students the opportunity to learn are skills such as learning BSL and the ability to work with the Deaf Society of Leeds. I know some people who are involved there, and that's something that they are always talking about. Getting people learning BSL is something to really it's a great skill to have. Also skills in cooking for students, events that can happen to teach students these skills. Many students come from backgrounds where they were not taught to cook. So I'd love to give this opportunity, and they can learn about different cultures, different food, and I think that would be great. I'd also like to offer opportunities for students to meet Leeds graduates and Leeds alumni. I would host events where Leeds alumni could come and speak to Leeds students about their experience and what they have done since being a student. And I think that would be something that I personally know that I'd find so helpful, and I think others would too. And also, very importantly, the opportunity for students to really connect and meet people. I would organise different events for students aimed at those who are struggling to meet people. They're not the type of person who may want to get involved in society. They just want to get involved to talk, to meet friends, instead of doing a society-based event. And also make sure there are events for international students. I know some international students who say it's often hard to integrate at uni. So it wouldn't be marketed as this is a space for just international students. It's a space for international students to be able to meet home students, because that often is kind of divided, which would be lovely to change. And I would promote mixed socials across societies, where societies can co-run socials to reach new members, and they can host those events together. And finally, I would also want to make a space available for students who have suffered with some sexual assault. I often find that, I don't know if everyone's seen lately on Leeds Fest on Facebook, a lot of people talking about the society events that they went to for socials where they were sexually assaulted, or something happened that they weren't comfortable with, because a lot of the time, freshers especially, it's the first time they're drinking or getting very drunk, etc. So I just want to get rid of that taboo and not make it on Leeds Fest, and have an opportunity for these students who've gone through that at a social or at an event to talk about it, so we can make change and make sure that that taboo is not there anymore.
Brilliant. Thank you guys so much for answering all those questions so well. Now, lastly, I would just like to ask you all, what is the first thing you're going to do when this lockdown is over?
I personally just can't wait to get back and meet up with all of my friends and learn and talk to them in person.
Yeah.
And stop all these bloody Zoom calls. I'm just tired.
Completely. Kat, what about you?
It's a bit of a cliche, but I cannot wait to just get absolutely wankered in Fruity and start throwing VKs. Not that I throw VKs, but I miss the atmosphere. I really miss it.
I haven't experienced it yet. I'm a first year. So I look forward to it. Oh dear. Leah, what about you?
I'd run to the pub, I'd order a pint, and then while I was drinking my pint, I'd get onto Skyscanner and book to go on holiday straight away. And I just spent 2 weeks in the sun. Can't wait for that feeling.
Oh dear. Yeah, that's all we've got for you guys today. So thank you all so much for listening and watching Leeds Student Television. I wish you guys the best of luck in your campaigns, and voting will be open from the 1st to the 4th of March, and Leeds Student Television will be live streaming the results on the 5th. So yeah, thank you guys so much.